How's it going, everybody? My name is Infamous Isaac, and I don't know if this video is gonna be posted to my channel or not, depending on how it goes. But if you guys don't see it, then you'll know that it wasn't, or yeah, you will never know. But I know for certain that if this video turns out great, then you'll see it and you'll know it wasn't supposed to come out, and that's because of my headset. It's it's wearing down, it's breaking down. I need to get a new one soon to be able to record like these type of one-on-one videos with you guys on what I just watched. So there may be there may not be as many like talking videos on Minecraft, but or at least for a little bit, but they won't stop forever. When I get a new mic, I should be back on doing these type of things. The Overwatch videos won't stop because I don't need a mic to play the game. So if I want to keep my streak going, I can just upload more Overwatch, which might suck for the people that don't want to watch Overwatch, but a streak is a streak, so we can try to keep it going. But regardless, I'm here to talk about a movie that I watched that's in my childhood when I was a lot younger, and I was like 5 or 6, nah, scratch that, 4 to 6 years old, and it was one of the one out of the 3 movies that this man has made, or well, no, one out of the three, one out of the trilogy. There you go. That's the better way to say it. And it is Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, the first out of the 3. And I just decided, like, you know what? I've been meaning to watch these for a long time, and I haven't watched a Marvel movie on my channel in a minute. Besides, like the No Way Home movie. It's been a little while. I love Spider-Man. A lot of people like Spider-Man. A lot of people like this trilogy a lot. And it's been a minute since I've watched these movies. I remember the third one the most because of Sandman and Venom, but right now we're starting from the bottom. We're watching the first one. And I'm gonna be a little lighter on the spoilers. I won't be as restrictive on it. I'll mention characters or a certain scene, but I won't go into depth with them because if maybe you haven't watched it, or maybe you have, you just don't remember, so you can go watch it yourself. But there'll be some spoilers as to characters who are there, and maybe some scenes are on like the end, beginning, or middle. But I won't get too specific to keep some vagueness. But regardless, the first movie is awesome. I'm not gonna like go into detail about the plot itself, but a synopsis is Peter, the story that a lot of people know, Peter Parker becoming Spider-Man, learning life lessons from Uncle Ben and Aunt May while living the double life, trying to keep his friends Mary Jane and, Harry Osborn, learning more, becoming the hero that we know, the Spider or the Friendly Neighborhood Man in Red and Blue. And we see Peter's journey from graduating high school, getting a job at the Daily Bugle, living with Harry, having a kindling relationship with Mary Jane, like as it grows, seeing things be taken away from him. I'm not gonna get into specifics as to what, but seeing important things to him being stripped away, and it could have been changed if he was just stronger or less, less inexperienced, I guess. So it's just Peter's like beginning and Spider-Man's beginning. It's honestly, it's crazy, because you've seen Spider-Man stories so much and so often, in like shows, media, comics as the origin, movies, a bunch of stuff. But seeing Sam Raimi's interpretation of it, a lot of people see it as like the essential like Spider-Man movie to know, like, this is what Spider-Man is and this is who Peter Parker is. A lot of people may agree or disagree, and to me, I don't think it's a definitive version because at the end of the day, it's all interpretation. Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield is different from Spider-Man Tobey Maguire. So it's all who you choose to be your definitive Spider-Man. But with this one, this Spider-Man and this Peter Parker, with Tobey Maguire, it means a lot to a lot of people. And to me, Tobey Maguire was always sick because of the fact that I used to watch him when I was younger. So I definitely have that attachment as well. But seeing it in this form, it was interesting because I'm a lot older now. I'm not a kid anymore, so I can see like I can come to my own interpretation as to what was going on. And obviously, some of it may be clouded because of the fact that I just really like Spider-Man. He's not my favorite hero, but he is second for sure. He is by far my second favorite superhero, and that's just a fact. Like, but one thing, like some gripes, I want to get some gripes out of the way first. Is Peter himself, like it felt so weird watching him. And not because he's awkward, because that's the whole point. Peter himself is an awkward person. So, that's just part of the character. But some lines just felt so weird, right? It felt outdated. And obviously it's going to. The movie's 20 years old. Like, it's crazy. But some of them felt just like a little stilted. And obviously with Peter they're supposed to, but like with Mary Jane and some other characters, I don't know if it's like the voice direction, but it felt so weird. Like it felt like robots were saying it. But not that's not to say that like it's like that the whole movie. Peter has some good lines. Peter isn't the only good actor. Mary Jane, she when I think her roboticness was coming out. I don't know if that's a word, but her robot like symptoms started coming out when she was talking to Peter for the most part. Other times it was normal. She was a pretty normal person, but at the same time, on the other edge of the sword, she her best lines came out when she was talking to Peter. Her screams were guttural. Like her screams in certain parts of the movie were crazy. And her emotional scenes as well were pretty good. So like it's more like a nitpick, I guess, that like it felt weird, but it wasn't, I guess, distracting. Some good actors. Well, actually, I'll talk about the good actors later. Some other parts of the CGI starts to show like its age. I know that the CGI gets better, well, like in like the second and third movie, and I know that for certain because oh man, I've seen some of the scenes, and remembering from childhood, like it could be crazy. But some of it starts to show its age, which it's bound to happen due to the technology at the time. So I don't fault that as a thing to the movie. It's not its fault, but it is a detractor when you see like this is a spoiler, so I say like skip 20-30 seconds ahead, but when Goblin throws the grenade at the people during the parade and they all turn into skeletons, the people that fired him, like I it was so goofy that I had to start chuckling. It was so funny. Oh man. But yeah, yeah, yeah. You can skip to now. Should be good. No spoiler after this. But regardless, the what is it? I don't really have that many like negative points to the movie. Most of the time I was laughing in excitement. I was so like giddy. I was so hyped watching the movie because I love Spider-Man. I think the hero himself is so fire. And it's just seeing Peter turn into Spider-Man himself is just like it brings out some childlike wonder in me. It's always just like seeing your heroes on the big screen. But yeah, like most of the movie, I was either giddy with excitement, I was super happy, I was hype, or I was really sad and I was mm, tearing up watching some of the really sad scenes. And man, do some of the actors really just nail the scenes? Cause oh my goodness, it's amazing. Like Willem Dafoe is by far the best actor in the movie, and like honestly, he might be my favorite Spider-Man villain like ever for the cinematic universe at least. Like Willem Dafoe is so good. Oh, excuse me. Willem Dafoe is so good as the Green Goblin. I don't want anybody else playing him ever. God bless that man's soul. He is so good as the Green Goblin. But what's it called? Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. Uh, he's great. Willem Dafoe is great. I can't say enough about him. Harry himself, he was a good actor. There was nothing wrong with him. Mary Jane was a good actor. Peter was a good actor. Besides, like Willem Dafoe used probably the best one. I wish his quips were better though. Like I feel like they're gonna get better over time as he becomes more and more like Spider-Man. I agree. But yeah. Oh, right now it's the first movie, so I don't like. I'm not expecting godlike acting. Uh, um, as the movies go on though, I'm ready to see some craziness. So things were fire. The action was amazing. The action was so good. My favorite fight was definitely the last excuse me, the last fight in the movie. The last fight was awesome. Every time Goblin and Peter fought, it was so good. Like I can't dock any points except for like the CGI that Goblin had with his grenades sometimes, and maybe sometimes when like the Peter, oh, like some CGI had to be brought in for Peter, but you know the movie's 20 years old. Like I'm not gonna go crazy on it or anything like that. But the fighting besides that was awesome. I really loved the fighting, especially when it was hand to hand like Green Goblin versus Spider-Man, but like involving their quirks and abilities as well, like with the quips and everything. It just made the fight so awesome to me. It was like I was a child again watching Spider-Man fight all these people. It was so sick. It was so dope to me. At the end of the day, though, if I had to give this, well, actually, what else was I gonna mention? Oh, yes, the Green Goblin. His lines are amazing. I can't like I know I mentioned before Willem Dafoe is such a good actor, but man, his lines are amazing. Now choose, Spider-Man, the children or your lover. Oh man, Norman's on sabbatical. His lines are so memorable and just so good, like Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, and Willem Dafoe. Huh. All of them are great. All of them are so good. Such a good villain. But the beginning was decent. It was good. The middle, it was interesting. It was picking up more and more. It was building up everything. It was becoming more like the final act. And the final act was the best part. From like the Thanksgiving scene all the way until the end was when things started going crazy. So I definitely enjoyed the last part of the movie, the last leg, the most. But if I had to give this movie like a oh here we if I had to give this movie a rating, I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10. This movie was fire. This movie was so good, and I can't wait to watch the other two movies and then watch the Andrew Garfield movies. Since I already watched the Tom Holland ones, they were the first ones that I watched. I might make a video on like what my favorite Spider-Man was, who my favorite Peter was, and who like had the best fights, the best movies, the best what's it called? In my opinion, like I guess this is my own way of making like a tier list. But for this first movie, huh, excuse me, oh man, I give it an 8 out of 10. It was amazing. At its worst, it was a 6.5. At its best, it was an 8.5. It was really good. But yeah, next movie I'm gonna do is Spider-Man 2. Hopefully my mic doesn't gaga itself while this records, and hopefully it doesn't gaga itself next time I record something. So that's the news for you guys. Like I may not be doing as many talking videos as much. Some Overwatch videos that are gonna be released soon won't have some audio in them. So you may or may not hear about this when they come out because this video may or may not go out. But God bless. Hopefully it does. If not, then whatever. We just roll with the punches and wait until I get a headset. But regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all for watching as always. I always appreciate it seeing me talk about somebody like that, a fictional character that has so much impact on my life. Spider-Man, we can learn a lot from. We can learn a lot of life lessons because he's not perfect. So I always look to fiction and media to learn the most that I can. Obviously not like the the over embellished and glorified stuff like death or horror or anything like that, but actual life lessons that you can apply to yourself, like with Vagabond and Spider-Man and a bunch of other stuff. So I always enjoy doing stuff like this, and I always just enjoy doing videos in general. So I can always take some pleasure in looking at stuff like this and talking about it. But that's enough rambling for now. I'll check you guys out. You guys have a great one. It's been really cold over here, so I'm freezing. I'm gonna have a great time being warm for once. And yeah, I'll stay safe. I'll check y'all out. Peace.